So if we shoot, the animation changes, and then when we get to 0, we use our spare clip and we can keep shooting.
I'm Xanderwood. I make indie games and tutorials on game development. I also play your indie games every week on my channel. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon so you never miss a video.
Guys, welcome back to Devlog 15. I'm going to show you what I've been working on this week, and it's all about the Cowboy. So this is where things start getting a little bit more complicated with the programming, and it's where I need to start being a lot more organized. This is the start of one of 2 possible levels. When you complete level 1, at the start of this level we meet Cowboy. There's a map on the wall here which shows you your new location. This updates, and then you can see the 3rd zone of the prison becomes pink, which is the hangar area, specifically hangar bay 42, which is the door that Priya was trying to unlock in the first level, and then it gives you another little flashing icon as to whereabouts you are, so you can see in relation to where the 2 main characters are in the prison. You can see that I've put in some new Hud elements, so at the moment we've got 2 clips of ammunition, plus 1 additional one in the tank, so a spare one. I've programmed all of that in, so if we shoot, the animation changes, and then when we get to 0, we use our spare clip and we can keep shooting. We can now find ammunition. I found 1 ammo clip, gives me 1 back. And if I run out of ammo altogether, I get a nice little animation that shows me that I've run out, and a different sound. I've also programmed in the animation on Cowboy, which was a little bit more complicated than I like to admit, because I've got 2 things going on. I've got a WASD movement where I need him to be in certain walking cycles, up, down, left and right. But I also need him to idle in 4 different directions as well. So whether he's facing the mouse cursor up or down or left, right. So he can now walk backwards, which lends itself, I think, a lot better to the combat element that's going to be in this game. Because in level 2 there will be a bit more action, whereas level 1 was more of a kind of stealthy sneak past. You can also see that that's represented in Cowboy's health bar, which is 4 hearts as opposed to Priya's 2 hearts, so he can take a bit more damage, but then he will be being attacked a lot more. And if you look at the map, you may have already picked up on this if you have a keen eye, but there is a little skull down in zone 5, which will be the boss of the first game. No spoilers at this point as to what that could be. This is really just the first part of level 2A, so when we walk up here it will take us to the next part, and this whole level is going to be very much just like The Legend of Zelda in terms of the dungeon navigation, where instead of level 1, which is the camera following Priya around the whole game, this one will be divided up into different rooms, because in the hangar area there will be different rooms that Cowboy can get to, and then the mission will be to do a specific task, which I'm not going to spoil for you at this point. I'm just going to give you a little kind of behind the scenes look and show you what that looks like in terms of the coding. So I've got an entire event sheet for level 2, as I did for level 1. This is going to have the core elements of what's going on throughout the level, and then this will include other event sheets such as the pausing event sheet, the map, and Cowboy's player controls. As I did with Priya in the first level, she had her own, if I show you here, she had her own event sheet which controlled everything about her movement, her animations, the push-pulling cycles, the initialization. That's, if you look on here, that's not been included in level 2 because there's no need for it, because she doesn't appear in this level. But Cowboy has his own one now, and I've broken it down again like I did with Priya into groups, giving him initial ammo and initial ammo clips, which is basically 1 clip is 14 bullets. Then I've got a group that controls his movement with the WASD keys, and then where he's pointing in terms of the mouse direction and if he's not moving. So what this effectively is if we're holding down A and we're not shooting, then we can move the base of the Cowboy character left, and we can set the state to walk left right. And I've only got one state for left right because I used the mirror expression in here, which basically flips the sprite around, and I've got all these different states that he can potentially be in, such as walk left or right, walk up, walk down, idle, idle up, shoot, shoot up, and shoot down. And they're all different animations entirely. So if I double click on the Cowboy, you can see these are all the animations that I programmed in. There's even one for him to fall from jumping, because on one of the levels it's more of a, instead of a top-down view, it's a 2D platformer where he can jump up and jump down. Walk down, shoot, fall down. This is when he gets killed or knocked out. Then he falls flat on his face. Shoot up, shoot down again, which is different entirely. So they're all in there, and I use the states in order to tell the system which one I want to play, and that's all in one folder called Cowboy Animations. And then for shooting, there's two blocks of events here. There's one for if I click the shoot button and we do have ammo, and there's another one for when I click the shoot button and we don't have ammo, and they do different things. Obviously, when we don't have ammo, we play the animation that says the ammo is empty and we play a different sound. If we do have ammo, then we run a few checks. We first check to see if the position of the character is lower or higher than the cursor, and that determines which state he goes into in terms of shoot up or shoot down, and then whether or not the cursor is to the left or to the right, which then calls the shoot state, which is the horizontal shoot state. If we look at the ammo group here, every tick, so every frame of the game, I've set the ammo the ammo sprite to play animation 1, and that's this sprite right here. And if we look at this one, all this is one animation with 14 frames, and frame 14, it's a full 2-clip ammo, and then I just basically take one bullet away from each one until there is none left, and then I change the animation to no ammo, which is just flashing red and white. I've set animation 1 to 0 speed. So what I've done in the coding here is I've set, if we look at this one here, if we look at this line of code here, is I've set that sprite, I've set the animation frame to equal whatever ammo is. So when we have 14 ammo, which is the maximum amount of ammo we can have, it will show frame 14. And when we click the shoot button and we lose one of our ammos, so on here, when I left click shoot, we subtract 1 from ammo. That then obviously brings ammo down to 13, and then that will show frame 13 of the sprite. So it works quite nicely, and because I've set in some variables that control the fact that we can never go below 0 and we can never go above 14, it will always only ever show one of those frames unless we're 0 and clicking shoot, in which case it will show the second animation, and that works quite nicely. In terms of the bullet collisions, I basically just said if the bullet hits a wall, we destroy the bullet and we spawn in a little particle effect, and that particle effect is simply this. It's just a 2x2, slightly off white and a kind of darkish blue color diagonally, and I've set that. If we look at the particle system on the left here, speed 10, size 2, you can see the preview's over here by the origin point. It just does a slightly randomized kind of one-shot short particle effect, which creates a nice little bit of polish for when we hit something. So we can see the bullet hit a wall and we can see that particle effect coming into play. With my HUD layer here, this one I've had to add in the Cowboy health, because in layout 1 you can see Cowboy health is there now, because that's all on the HUD layer, which is global. What I've done is I've just set a couple of variables up when we start each level. So if the level is equal to 1, we don't show Cowboy's health, so I can just hit play here and you'll see that it's just Priya's health. but then if we do start level 2, we can see that it's Cowboy's health. So I've just set a couple of easy variables up that basically just track what level we're on, so we know what to show. And obviously the bullet clips, they don't show in the first level either, because Priya doesn't have a weapon. And that's pretty much all I've gotten up to. The next part of this is going to be programming in what happens. There's going to be a trigger point up here, so when we exit this first little stage, then we'll move into the next part of the level, and then Cowboy will do his thing. Most of the programming for him is done in this first bit. It's just going to be level design here on out. I'm going to have to add enemies in. There's going to be patrolling enemies, there's going to be drones, and you're going to get to fight, and they're going to be shooting at you as well, so there'll be an opportunity to be killed, and again progress the level in different ways based on the actions that you take here. So this is one of the second levels, and that's what I've been working on this week. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back next week with a little bit more of an update. A massive shout out to James Welch from my Patreon page. I really do appreciate all the support, and if you'd like to become a Patreon too, there's a link in the description. You can get yourself access to indie game assets such as free music, art assets, and I release all of my videos on my Patreon page before they air on my YouTube channel.